Most junior developers don't struggle because they're bad at coding. They struggle because they were never taught how to learn inside a real company. So in school or even tutorials, you have a step-by-step guide. You have certain things, you have professors that will sit there and, handhold you and lead you basically all the way down the path, or there's some type of instructions that will lead you step by step through until the finish line. But in the real world, only thing that there is a vague request, or somebody just throws a problem at you and says, we have this problem, and expect you to just figure it out from there. But this is real life, and this is what happens in real companies. I've seen it play out again and again, and I've lived it. So today I want to break down why junior developers struggle and how to actually stand out, and the mindset shift that changed everything for me. Let's get into it. So hi, if you're wondering, who is this guy? My name is Zazo. I've been coding for over 10 years, and I've been in the tech industry for over 8 years at this point. So I've seen this time and time again with juniors coming out of school, or only having a couple internships under their belt and coming into the real world, getting thrown into a position and completely struggling. And it's not for the reasons that you would think. First joined the tech industry, or when I was first hired as a software engineer, I thought that my job was literally just to write code all day, every day, and that was it. Things like fixing tickets, pushing code, trying not to break anything. And to be honest, at face value, that is what it is, but there's more to it. Nobody ever told me that coding is only like half of the job. The other half is understanding context of these different underlying issues, communicating clearly between stakeholders, learning how all the systems piece together and how they fit together and what feeds what and how this may break this, and also being able to communicate that clearly to the people that own the system, figuring things out when documentation is straight booty trash and out of date. So here's what usually happens with most junior devs. They wait for perfect instructions, so they wait for step-by-step instructions on exactly what to do. They get nervous for asking too many questions, and they don't want to look incompetent. So what do? They assume that if they sit there and struggle in silence, that they will look more competent. But that's the trap. Waiting to be told what to do, being quiet because you're afraid of looking dumb. The truth, that's exactly how you stay invisible. So here's what I did to stand out as a junior. I realized early on that the most respected juniors weren't the ones that were writing genius level code. They were the ones who communicated well, asked smart questions, and took initiative. So I started doing a few things differently that completely changed how people saw me and viewed me. So I started asking questions early. In the earlier meetings when we were having about creating a feature or things like that, I would ask my questions then rather than assuming that I knew everything, trying to code it, and then when I ran into a problem, asking questions. I gained context and I communicated clearly and got the information I need up front. So it made the coding job so much easier because I didn't have to guess on what stakeholders wanted or what I think it should be. I was asking questions to get exactly what they were expecting from the system or feature or whatever I was building. Another thing about this is when you're in those meetings, those early on meetings, and you're actually asking questions, it shows that you care and that you want to do a quality job rather than just doing something really fast. Another thing I did is I proposed solutions. I didn't just ask a question, right? I'm giving what I tried. Would this work? I'm having a more interactive experience with higher devs, more senior devs. So instead of just saying, hey, I'm stuck on this part, right? I would say, hey, I'm having problems here. Here's what I did. This is what I think may be happening. What if I tried this? So those type of questions, and when you frame things that way, it's a lot different than, hey, I'm stuck. Because then how a senior dev is going to look at you is like, they just want the answer. And sometimes I would say more knowledgeable devs won't give you the answer because they know that it's not going to help you. So they'll put you through a little bit more of, racking your brain in order for you to actually come up with something else rather than just spitting out the answer. But when you give a whole kind of, synopsis on what you did, it gives that person like, okay, this person needs help, not because they're lazy or because they haven't tried anything. They tried multiple things. They really just can't figure it out. So let me guide them and let me, and just as a person, if you come to the table with that, people see you in a different light and they see you as you care and they are more willing to help you rather than you just saying, hey, I'm stuck, help me, right? Another thing I started doing is making my wins visible. This is so key. Even if you don't feel like it was the biggest thing, make your small wins visible. When there's opportunities to present something in a meeting maybe, or when there's opportunities to kind of speak on that feature because you built it, take those opportunities, right? If somebody's asking about it, take the opportunity and the initiative to step up and speak up about that specific thing. So how exactly do you stand out as a junior dev? I'm gonna give you that right now, okay? So if I were to start out as a junior dev, again, here are some things that I would focus on. I would write for the next dev. So the person coming behind you, I would document in a clear way so that the next time that problem or issue comes up, it's easier for the next person to solve it. This does a couple things. One, if a junior on the team, somebody that comes behind you is like, wow, this is really good documentation, when they're speaking to the manager goes, who wrote that? And they're going to say that it's you. That's one thing. The next thing is that is another person that will not be knocking at your door saying, hey, I have this issue, can you explain how you solved it, or blah 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 blah. And they'll be coming to you every time they have that issue. If you have the clear documentation that states what you did, why you did it, and it's very clear, then that kind of actually saves a little bit more of your time with having to go back and forth with this individual. Most juniors don't do this. So when you do, you stand out immediately. You always got to think of the common junior dev. What would a common junior dev do? You list all those things out. What would a senior dev do, or a higher level dev do? And you compare. And the ones that stick out that the junior dev would not do, but the senior would, those are the things that you need to be doing. Obviously, some come with more experience and time. The things that you can start doing right away, like writing documentation on how you solve something, that is something that for like the time it takes to like how good it makes you look is definitely worth it. Another thing that I started to do is I actually started to just talk to senior devs, like not just about work, right? I used to hear their story first, right? And then understand where they come from. And then also try to understand and ask them, how do you think about these things? How do you make these decisions? What factors come into making these decisions? You'll learn so much faster and understand trade-offs behind real-world software so much faster than just sitting there and doing the day-to-day, every day, all day. Speaking to your senior devs, all right? Another thing is, do not chase perfection, chase learning speed. Do the things that will make you learn the fastest. Do not try focus on perfection. It will slow you down. This is the good thing about being a junior dev. No one expects you to be perfect. A lot of companies too, they don't even expect you to do anything worth hoo-hawing about, honestly. Like, junior devs are just there as, it sounds bad, but like, you got Similac on your breath, bruh. You just came out of school. That's how they look at you. So you don't have a lot of expectations up front. Therefore, you should take that to exceed that immensely by just doing these small things, right? So in that event, they expect junior devs to mess up and do these types of things. But in that, you need to learn fast, iterate, bounce back from those mistakes, and then you become extremely valuable. And that's how you get promoted, and promoted quick. Be low maintenance but high impact. What do I mean by that? It doesn't mean that you're silent. That doesn't mean that you don't ask questions. That means that you're being proactive. So instead of just, going through after you get your requirements or after you're talking about it, ask those questions up front. Senior devs love working with people that are very motivated and that show a kind of mindset where you are trying to get the most information because you're trying to get it done so you don't have to come back to them, which makes it low maintenance for a senior dev. So really try to give them as much information when you're asking a question rather than I'm just stuck, because that doesn't help anybody understand the context of where you're stuck, why you're stuck, what's going on, or any of that. So be very clear when you're stuck. Try some different things and bring that to the senior dev before you just go in there asking questions and being like, well, I'm stuck, this doesn't work. Of course, that's why you're coming to me. You know what I mean? So that's something that can really boost your learning as well. So here's what I want you to remember. Standing out isn't about being the smartest person in the room, it's about being worth the investment. So are you worth being invested in with time, money, effort, all of that, right? Show initiative, communicate clearly, learn in public, and that's how you go from junior, indispensable. People will also just naturally tend to like you more. So if you found this helpful, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Leave me a comment, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Like I said, I've been in this industry for over 8 years, and I just want to keep sharing everything I wish that someone would have told me way back when I started. All right, love, peace, and chicken grease.